be much more animated, and I'll probably talk louder because I'm going to try to explain to some of my benighted friends on this side of the pond why the game we call soccer and the rest of the world calls football is truly the world's game. Now, tonight I'm a fan. I'm an ex-coach. I'm an ex-referee. And I was a high school announcer for several years. I backed into being a soccer coach. I kind of got a team dumped on me. So I went, and this was my daughter's team. And so I went and learned everything I could about it. And I coached girls for, I think, about 3 years, young girls. And then when my son Zach was old enough, I coached boys for 2 or 3 years. And then when he and his age group went on beyond where I thought my skill level at teaching was, I became a ref and a teaching ref and helped young refs gain confidence and doing stuff like that. And then at one point when my son went into high school, I backed into the high school announcing job by first doing it as a volunteer for the reserve games and then being requested to do the varsity and eventually both the men's and the women's. And I also announced a few Southwest Ohio All-Star games at the end of the seasons. So yes, I have a bias. I never played soccer. The only thing soccer was what, no offense intended. I went to a parochial school and we had several children from Mexico. And soccer was what the Mexican guys did when they got a hold of the kickball and ran up and down the parking lot, kicking it back and forth to each other. And all those Anglo guys stood around scratching our ear, wondering what that was. Looked like fun, but we had no idea. I'm a traditional sports fan in that I still love the game of baseball, though I cannot abide watching it on TV because of the commercials. I will gladly go down to the park and watch the game. I'll stop by a big city park if there's a big softball game going on. I watch that. I enjoy that game. It's very hard skill, hitting a round ball with a round bat. I played a little football in high school and was way too small for it, didn't care for it. And in recent years, I've grown disenchanted with watching men beat each other to the point where they're causing brain injuries to each other. And also the Bengals have sucked for several years now. Reds have sucked too, but I still love baseball. So it's not like I'm a foreigner in my sports. But the thing about soccer is its flow. Right after I had my colon surgery, my doc said, you don't get upset. So that ruled out the football because the Bengals sucked back then. They still do. And that ruled out the baseball playoffs because the Cubs were in the playoffs. I knew I'd be screaming at the Cubs for something they did or didn't do or whatever. And so I started taping soccer matches from the Premier League, English Premier League, and from the German Bundesliga. And so I set my DVR every Saturday and Sunday and catch all the games, and I watch them during the week. The thing that drew me to soccer back when I had to find something to do with all my time while I recuperated was you get 45 minutes of uninterrupted sport. There are no commercials. There's certain things that stop the play, but not really when you understand how I feel the game ebbs and flows and how it plays with your emotions. With baseball, you get excited. Bam, guy hits a double, stretches it into a triple. Whoa, that's exciting. Happens a few times a game. Good hit, big run scored, whatever. Stop, start. Inning up, batters down, in the field, at the plate. Okay? It's the ebb and flow of the game. There's nothing wrong with it. But it does have a herky-jerky appeal or a herky-jerky form that I find less appealing, especially that's why I hardly ever will watch baseball on television. I just hardly watch anything on television that has commercials, to be honest. If it's something that's on, I DVR it and then I zip through the commercials. In any event, back to soccer. Soccer is about the ebb and the flow, the emotion of the game. It's hard to describe until you've been in a stadium or along the sidelines of a game and felt the kinetic energy being transferred from the crowd's emotions into the play on the field. It's ebb and flow, up and down, the beautiful game, pass, 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 trap the ball, pass it. There's an ebb and flow, there's an emotional lift, and it's a sustained lift. You hear it, particularly in the English Premier League, with the home team singing and chanting and fueling their team with their energy. And it really seems to work sometimes. There's the ebb and the flow. You're attacking. Oh, oops! They intercepted. Back the other way. You're back running. There's great saves by the keeper. There's muffed opportunities by the players. It's the only game where the word unlucky is valid and accepted by fans. Now, I'll go back and explain some of this. I've got to look at my notes now. The ebb and flow I spoke about. Teams, good teams, build pressure on the other team, and you can feel a score coming. You can feel a goal coming. They're putting on great pressure. Maybe the other team's playing great defense and holding you out, but eventually you just feel like you're going to drive that ball into the back of the net. Or the other side makes a great defense. Boom, they catch you shorthanded, napping, and they got a breakaway going the other direction, a 3-on-2. The ebb and the flow, the up and the down. With American football, there's a breathless anticipation as that long pass arcs downfield and the receiver's arms extended, leaping for the ball. There's that burst of adrenaline when there's a great tackle made or somebody breaks a runoff tackle for 23 yards. But it's there and then it's gone. Even a drive. And I've seen some tremendous drives over the years. Even a drive late in the game, seldom, and you march all the way down and score and win the game. That begins to explain what the ebb and flow of a soccer match can go. People talk about how can you enjoy a game that ends in a scoreless draw? Because the play was great. Goals come about as a result of many great plays, and usually somebody not being as great as they could have been. I'll explain that. Teams moving down the field, passing. All of a sudden, boom! One of the midfielders breaks out, snags the ball, takes off the other direction. Got a couple of guys going on his wings, and the game goes the other direction, just like that. The ebb and the flow. You can watch the team make 6, 7, 8, 9 great passes as they're building pressure. But by the same token, you can admire that great defensive tackle that broke the play up and caused them to, regroup, set off again, whatever. You can admire that incredible save that the keeper made, that superhuman save that the keeper made. And you can admire that and you can respect that, even if it's the other team. I have watched some great matches that ended in a scoreless draw or 1-0. They have been great matches because the quality of the game, the skills exhibited. Soccer is a very skill-heavy game. To run at full speed with the ball at your feet, keeping it under control, and being able to pass it left or to the left or to the right is a considerable skill. Trapping a ball, stopping a ball that's coming through the air or bouncing along the ground or whatever that you want to take possession of, trapping the ball is a skill. Headers are a skill. And obviously, scoring goals are a skill that is often dependent upon being in the right place at the right time, where you're supposed to be. Soccer has schemes. They have defensive lineups. They have attacking lineups. They strategize. They shift during the course of the game. Team may be playing with 3 defensive backs and go to a 4-back system halfway through the game to tighten it up. Teams get up a lead, 2-0, say, early in the second half. They may shift their form, they call it, and go to a more defensive form to hold on to that advantage. And watching them do that well is fun, in my opinion, and obviously millions of other people around the world. It's fun watching that. Great pass, great pass, great pass. Ooh, great interception, and off it goes the other way. There's also some great acting. And the Premier League has started to address that. You'll see some of the greatest dives ever made by a man running full speed. I have to say it's the men that do more diving than the women. I have the greatest respect for the women's national team. They are just absolutely the class of the world competition. And women don't dive. Men dive. They make it look like they've been tripped. They make it look like they've been knocked down. They make it look like they didn't hold that guy back. And it's part of the game. When it gets too egregious, they'll call a foul. When it's dangerously egregious, they'll give a yellow card. And if it's stupidly reckless, they'll give a red. And they don't tolerate stupid or reckless play. But it is a physical game. I had to explain that many times to parents when I was refereeing their sweethearts, their children's games, and go, yes, it is a physical game. Yes, your son or daughter might get knocked down fairly. Next time they get knocked down, it might be a penalty, it might be a trip or something, but it is a contact sport. Some of the tall players that have mastered the headshot, the header, so far they haven't shown too many headshots and is causing brain damage, though they do have a strict protocol for when 2 guys clog heads. But when they take a dive now in the Premier League, they call it simulation, and they blow the whistle and they give them a yellow card. So it's fun when you watch a replay of a foul. Did he really clip his ankle? Did he really catch the back of his heel? Or did he just make it really look good and draw the foul by taking a dive? The German players, the Bundesliga is not like that. They don't take dives, and if they do, they get drilled right away. So, I mean, in the Bundesliga, if you go down, it's because you got hammered or clattered, as they call it. There's great shots that can be countered by great goals, or great saves by the keepers, rather. Great goals that you don't mind seeing again and again and again. The individual skills, it's part of why I enjoy watching, particularly the Premier League, because I taught children all those years how to pass, how to trap, how to control the ball, or try. And then to watch seasoned pros do it all the time, to me, is a thing of beauty. I think that's why they call it the beautiful game. When a team sweeps from one end of that massive field to the other, passing across, passing here, passing there, putting pressure on the other end, it is a thing of beauty to watch. The ebb and the flow, literally up and down the pitch. Some of these guys run 15 kilometers a game. There's no sport that we play in America where anybody runs 15 kilometers in a game. but they routinely do. Some of the midfielders, particular, and wings, particularly, they run enormous distances, and they play really hard. I mentioned a term earlier, unlucky. That term has validity in soccer. Bad bounce, he was unlucky. Clangs one off the post and it doesn't go in, it goes out. He was unlucky. The goalie gets foxed, nutmegged, which is when they whip it between your ankles. He was unlucky. And unlucky happens. Bad bounces, bad hops, funny strikes. When you strike the ball, what happened there? It happens. It's a round ball. You're running, you're kicking with the inside of your foot, the outside of your foot, never the toe, of course. It's a beautiful game to watch. The flow is amazing. There's only 3 substitutions allowed on a side. Somebody gets a red card, the team plays shorthanded. So cards are very important, particularly yellows. A second yellow gets you ejected. It becomes a red automatically. And so the temper of the play can change with a card, a call. And it may be against your team, and it may be a rotten call. But, okay, you got to learn to live with it. Your guy's going to play a little looser now, perhaps, and he might get burned. But that's part of the game, too. The refs they do the best. I have a lot of respect for the refs that play at this level, because my God, these guys are the best players in the world. Let's see what else we got. You don't listen. You don't pay any attention to the final score of the match. 3-1 can be an absolutely nail biter right up to the very end and leave you drained, winner or loser, as could a 1-0 game. Because if the play was intense, the keeper was on, the defenders were sterling, and that one moment, that one team capitalized on the moment, does not detract from that 90 minutes of football that you just got done watching. It truly does not detract from it. You get you always get 90 minutes of play. If somebody gets injured and it takes 90 seconds to get the guy off the field and whatever, get him treated by the physios, they'll add that time on to the end of the period. So you always get your 90 minutes. You never get cheated out of your time. And those last 3, 4, sometimes 5, what they call additional time or extra time at the end of a tight match is just nerve-wracking sometimes. Watching, if it's a 1-goal deficit, just watching the pressure, the defense, etc. Amazing. Those 5 minutes can be the best 5 minutes of the game. And teams sometimes play a little easier in the beginning, feeling them out, seeing how the matchups are working, etc., like that, and turn it on or turn it off. That's okay. Got 90 minutes is a long time, especially if you're running 12, 15 kilometers. Draws are good because of the way soccer is tabled. They don't have a chart. They don't have standings. They have a table. You get 3 points for a win, 1 point for a draw, no points for a loss. And the goals, both for and against, are tallied, and that's your differential. When you're up 2-1 late in the game and the pressure is just getting, when you're up 2-1 and the pressure is just getting amazingly intense, and all of a sudden, boom, the other team scores, you fight for that draw because of that 1 point. You were up and you you didn't do as well as you could, but that's why draws have an appeal. To play for a draw, to protect a draw, because it all depends on where you are on the table, on how many points you have. Right now, Manchester City is just tearing them up. They're like, oh, ridiculous! They have a ridiculous lead for this early in the season, and it's doubtful anybody will catch them. Now, and not only that, they have a huge goal differential. So even if somebody did, oh, I don't know how. It would be incredible. They're having an amazing season. Now, I'm not one of their fans. I just enjoy watching a good match. Clean sheets. That's a shutout. Clean sheets are very important, obviously, because of goal differential. They're very important to the keepers. When it comes time to get their next contract, the more clean sheets they have, the more clean sheets a team has, the better its goal differential, the higher it's going to be on the tables. So shutouts are very important and are played for and preserved, even if it means a draw, because of what it means. So there's a lot of things going on out there in terms of the scoring and what it means. If you're playing a team that you're even with on the table right now, well, of course you want to win and pull 3 points ahead, but you don't want to lose and let them pull ahead. So it didn't work out. Well, fight for that draw. You each get a point, and neither of you are the worse for wear. And I know it's not the American way to want to bludgeon the other guy with a ball bat until he's, cries uncle. But the game has a certain sophistication that on a beautiful sunny day between two excellent teams. I just watched Arsenal play Manchester United in one of the most thrilling games I have ever watched. I think it ended up 3-1. And it was absolutely one of the best games I ever watched. Arsenal got 2 goals, Manchester got 2 goals early in the game, and then they played even the rest of the match. And I mean, it was fully intense. They played hard. There was no slacking off. They ran hard. They played full speed. Thrilling match, 3-1. It was that's kind of a lopsided loss in soccer, but it was a great match. And even if I'd been an Arsenal fan, I would have not hung my head, because my guys, my side, played really, really well. And that's why I think you can't just watch a game. And certainly if you're watching the MLS. The MLS is okay, but it's not the same as the way they play it in most of the rest of the world. In the MLS, they do a lot of what is derisively called kickball. They kick a lot of long kicks. They don't learn how to pass. The rare MLS team that can pass usually is one of the dominant ones at the head of the pack. Our local team, which I had a season ticket last year, what are we? We're second tier. We're not. We're minor league, and they're trying to become MLS, and I hope they don't, because if they do, next year will be my last year, because I already have my tickets. They'll come MLS in 19, and the prices will triple for the cheap seats, and I'll no longer go. So I'm not all that keen on becoming an MLS team for a number of reasons. And price being one of them, and the style they play is the other. So don't rely on an MLS game to form your opinion of the game. Pardon me. Go to MSNBC, go to Fox Sports 1, Fox Sports 2, CNBC. They broadcast soccer matches on Saturday and Sunday, and do like I do. You tape a couple. And if it's a stinker, if the game's a stinker, I'll just start fast forwarding, watching the score so I can see the goal score and go on to the next game. That way I don't watch all 7 I might tape on the weekend. But I'll probably watch at least 3 or 4 of them all the way through, because it's a very peaceful game, in that you don't do a lot of jumping up and down and shouting, but you can get pretty excited as the play intensifies in that. You have to look at the symmetry, and then you have to look at the pieces that make up the symmetry. And when the pieces are being made well and the symmetry is beautiful, it's a great game watching it run from one end to the other. It doesn't matter that they're not scoring. Are they playing well? This is a sport where playing well really has value today. And for that reason, that's probably why I like it. One of the many reasons I like it. All those years coaching and reffing and all that, they had something to do with it. And then I got back into it after my surgery, and Cheryl got me tickets, and I went, and now I got tickets for myself next year. So yeah, I like soccer, but I think if you give it a chance, look at a couple of games. Get one of the Premier League 1 hour shows at the end of the weekend where they show you the best plays of the game in that. Watch Two Guys in Blazers. These 2 British comedians that crack wise while they're replaying highlights of the games, both highlights and lowlights. And see if you don't have a different appreciation for the game. If not, well, I've done the best I can to explain to you why I think you should. In the meantime, I've got 7 matches over there just from the Premier League alone. No, 6 from the Premier League and 5 from the Bundesliga that I'm going to be speed watching, and I'm going to tape some more tomorrow. So I'm off to binge watch soccer now that I have my Christmas cards done and the Christmas letter done and all that stuff done. And this special edition is done. Bye. See you on the pitch.